What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some more Dragon Ball Fighters for y'all. So at the beginning of looking at all of these characters' issues, I picked a lot of characters that people consider weak, but you know, a weak Dragon Ball character usually is good, but they just have some big flaws. And last week we looked at Blue Goku, who's a really good character, who doesn't really have any problems at all, but people still don't like picking him at a more competitive level because it's hard to place him on a team. So I want to look at another character that has kind of a weird issue where he's not totally flawed himself, and that is Super Saiyan Vegeta. And as usual, if you haven't already, definitely take a second to like this video or subscribe to the channel. If you already have not, it does help the channel grow. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So Super Saiyan Vegeta. So this character, of course, has been out since the game released. Basically, since the game has been announced, since we knew it existed, this character has been in the game. And on Dragon Ball FighterZ original release, he was considered one of the best characters in the game and basically mandatory for competitive play. Why? Because he was super well-rounded. He was an amazing support. The game was simpler at that time, and there were pretty much two main types of teams. Were you supporting offense with a character like Android 16 in the back or Yamcha, or were you supporting defense and playing lane with the SSJ Vegeta assist in the back? Vegeta was one of the original characters that people got super butthurt about, to be honest, because of his assist, to the point that it got changed extremely early in the game's lifespan. Once upon a time, when you blocked this, you just had to block it. That was it. Very early in Season 1, they made it so that you could reflect out of block stun. Now, despite that, it was still a pretty popular assist in Season 1 overall. But as time went on, people started valuing offense more guaranteed offense, and people didn't really understand the kind of guessing games and what you could enforce with reflectable block stun. But even then, he still saw results in tournaments for a really long time. Now today though, in season 3.5, he is mostly non-existent in competitive play. So what happened to him? He actually is one of the characters that I think really defines how the game is played overall, despite him having an extremely simple toolkit. He doesn't have a beam either. He relies on multi-key blasts. And he was a character that helped build a lot of the building blocks of neutral of this game. One of these points being using your ki blast in a low committal fashion. He fires many ki blasts, but really in matches you'll see them fire one or two, so that if they super dash, you can react and 2H. He had a pretty uncommon tool as well really early on of an air DP. So similarly to the ground ki blast, you could DP an incoming super dash as well. While this style of movement is really common in the game today, he was really the character that set that up, because he would jump. You want to super dash at him while he's throwing ki blast, but you can't because you're scared of the dragon punch. It made him really liberal in movement. He was able to move in and out of ranges. He has another tool that's really common, to the point where when the game came out, we weren't really aware of how strong this type of move was, but once Bardock dropped, we started realizing how important this type of move is. It's his rocket kick, the lariat. So he has a couple of versions of it. He has the light one that's -5, where he can move after, that's very good. And the EX one is -13, but it travels full screen extremely fast. He has a medium one as well, but you mostly see it in combos, not offense or neutral. So his game plan was pretty simple. If you had Vegeta on your team, you're mostly using him for support. He covers an extremely powerful angle in this game. Being able to protect this line and being hard to hit, even if it is a ki blast, is still really good. It's pretty easy to kick confirm it when people get hit by that move. So you could play a pretty passive game with the assist, run around, wait, use him to protect space and hedge your bets, use him in a bunch of places where you don't really know what your opponent is going to do, and in the case of you having to run him alone because he's your last character, while he may not have a command grab or an instant cross-up, he's extremely mobile and hard to hit, and he can stop really lazy approaches. He can also go from full screen to point blank. You have to be pretty focused to play against him. His conditioning game is pretty good. His frame data overall is not bad, and is pretty easy to get the spacing to get his medium to connect as a cross-up. So quite frankly, I think the main reason why people don't play him is they just don't think the assist is worth it. Even during the middle of Season 1, people were already starting to downplay this assist, even though it was extremely good at controlling space in the context of that version. Even into Season 2, people thought it was still not good. Today, I actually think that assist is still a really good assist. But his real issue, I feel like, is that he has not kept up with the game. When the game came out, a lot of the characters had pretty simple, straightforward designs, but it was hard to say what was going to be strong or not, or what type of things would be needed for teams down the road. Right now, we're in Season 3. By now, the devs have a pretty good understanding on what makes a character good. It's pretty clear in the tools they give new characters. They're very specific about what types of things they give the characters in Season 3 compared to Season 1 and Season 2. So let's take a character like my homie Roshi. So Roshi has a bunch of unique tools, but they wouldn't really be able to make a character like this when the game came out. He has a super dash that's completely invincible to Ki Blast, and he has a unique air super dash that he can control as well. Most people wouldn't call Roshi a top tier character, or even close to a top tier character, to be honest, but he has multiple ways of navigating around this really common way of controlling space. Things like this really affect SSJ Vegeta's usefulness on the team. He does have another assist option in his C assist, but that A assist is still really the GOAT for him. For a character who's both his assist and his neutral control when he's out both heavily rely on Ki Blast, that is a really big issue. And even though he can compensate, because he himself is a good mobile character, it's still a pretty big hole in his game plan. So while he himself is fine as a character, there's so many characters in the game now that have these type of special properties to move around the screen. You can even take my team as an example. Gotank's Dynamite Kick goes through Ki Blast. Roshi, as I mentioned, has the reverse Kame Super Dash that goes through Super Dash, or he has the Masterful Leap Super Dash that straight up is invincible to Ki Blast, as I mentioned before, and Broly has a Ki Blast that beats Ki Blast. If that wasn't enough, his Tackle and Eraser Blow both go through Ki Blast, and his A assist goes through Ki Blast as well. When DragonBallFighterZ dropped, there weren't that many characters who had tools like these, but now it's pretty easy to build a team that can do that, and honestly, most top tier teams have these capabilities. Even using Season 3 characters only. So Kepler has an attack that just beats other projectiles outright. We don't even need to mention how many ways UI Goku can beat projectiles. Roshi, as we mentioned a couple times already in this video, is just invincible against Ki Blast. And Baby 214S is also Ki Blast invincible. So all these characters, despite how strong you may or may not think they all have things that get around this. At this point too, most common team builds have some sort of thing that deals with what SSJ Vegeta can do pretty easily. Again, right now, one of the most popular characters in the game is Ultra Instinct Goku. So just by having him on your team, you have a really effective way of shutting down SSJ Vegeta neutral. As a final example, I have a team like this. So this has DP Beam as the main assists, both in the Android 18 Destructo Disc and Masenko. You could go even extra if you feel like it and use Change the Future if you feel like it, but you don't need to. So we already talked about how UI beats projectiles like that, but Trunks also has a Ki Blast that beats Ki Blast, and he has Change the Future that also goes through SSJ Vegeta's assist and standard neutral. So again, at this point in the game, no matter when the character was added to the game, a lot of the ways that people build teams and pick characters naturally beats what SSJ Vegeta wants to do, even if that assist is still a pretty good assist in theory. Okay, hopefully that made sense. This character is definitely one of the characters I think of when I think of characters that have truly fallen from grace, which is pretty sad because I think he's a pretty fun character to play, even if I've never actually made him. I like his fundamental style of play, and again, like I said at the beginning of the video, he really was one of the characters that helped establish what standard Dragon Ball play is. As usual, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.